Hi everyone, today is Asara B'Av. This week's Sidra is Bet Hanan, and I want to discuss a specific pasuk. Do not add anything to that which I am commanding you. Do not subtract anything from it to keep the commandments of God, your God, which I am commanding you. Lo tosif, as we know it in halakha, we refer to this as bal tosif. It's intuitive that we shouldn't be censoring Torah and we shouldn't be reforming it or creating a new religion. And we have in the Masachet Sanhedrin a discussion by Rabbi Hizkiah to explain the idea behind this concept, which is that in Gan Eden, Hawa and Adam were told not to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the snake, being wily that it was, told Hawa that that tried to say that God told them not to touch the tree and not to eat it or they would die. And she touches the tree and she doesn't die, and it's a slippery slope because then she eats from the tree. So the fact that the snake added to the law that was already there made it so that in the end nothing would be observed at all. So we have this law, but there's a lot of questions that we might have of how far reaching this law goes, because it seems that our Chachamim are okay with adding things and taking things away. We have the idea of further in the Gemara of about a second pair of tefillin. Okay, so maybe it's about quantity and we shouldn't be adding things with specific numbers. But then again, we have a second day of Yom Tov, so maybe it's not about quantity. What about general things like holidays, entire new holidays that the Chachamim were able to add? Hanukkah, Purim, Megillah. Other question might be, so what if I don't want to eat chametz after Pesach is over, day 8 in Israel or day 9 in the Galut? Am I violating, transgressing this commandment not to add to the Torah? What if I just don't want to eat gluten? How far does this go? So to answer this, we turn to Maimonides and Mishneh Torah, who codifies Bal Tosif as the 313th mitzvah in the Torah out of 613. And in general, other mefarshim like the Sefer HaChinuch, they think that Bal Tosif only applies to negative commandments, but Maimonides says it applies to both positive and negative, that it's pervasive. And we see a lot of discussions about Tosif throughout the Mishneh Torah, not just in one spot like we would with maybe other laws. So to find one key place that gives us great insight into this halakha and how we practice it today, we have in Sefer Shoftim, in Halchot Mamrim of rebels, right? We're talking about the judicial system. So this is a very central concept, and this is a very central discussion to how our entire religion operates post Second Temple. And in it, Maimonides talks about the specific mitzvah. He talks about the Sanhedrin and their authority, and the halakha of lo tevashel gedi b'halev imo. And lo tevashel gedi b'halev imo, Maimonides says it's clear from everything from the exegesis that we have of the Torah that this means general category of meat and milk, not just do not cook a goat in its mother's milk, but it's talking about all general meat, whether it's a wild animal like a gazelle or a deer, or whether it's a goat or a cow. It doesn't have to be a goat like is literal in the pasuk, and it doesn't have to be its mother. It's just any type of dairy milk. Could be goat milk, could be cow milk. Maimonides says that the Chachamim had the right to add fowl and chicken to this halakha. They had the right to make a fence, to make a separation and say, well, we're going to add a ban, another prohibition, another layer, so that you don't actually come to do the original prohibition. And so that sounds like it's Bal Tosif. Why is it okay for them to make fences? Isn't fences the problem? Isn't that what the snake did to Chava? How was that a good thing? But when done by a court and done with the proper authority, as long as they make it very clear that this is a darabanan, that this is what they are doing so that nobody transgresses the law, they have the right to forbid chicken and fowl as part of the commandment of basar and halab, so people don't get confused. And there's a few other examples of things that they do to make sure that people don't get confused. But in general, that's what we're going to do for the scope of today. There is also notably some laws in Nevi'im and prophets where we talk about Eliyahu Hanavi and why it was okay for him to add mitzvot and command people to bring korbanot outside of Yerushalayim on Har Carmel, which was forbidden. So there's other instances where sometimes this principle there are exceptions for Nevi'im, for Sanhedrin, but the point of this whole video is to show you that we are supposed to internalize this lesson, but we're supposed to internalize it on an individual level for ourselves. We're not supposed to make fences. We're not supposed to be more strict. We're not supposed to skip laws either. We are supposed to keep the Torah as commanded as individuals,